Tevues, have you ever heard of a woman so unlucky in love that 5 of her husbands died in tragic accidents? Or was it something far more sinister? Welcome to the chilling story of Victoria Hale, the glamorous widow of Harbor Springs, whose life seemed to be a never-ending cycle of love, wealth, and mysterious death. In the quiet, picturesque town of Harbor Springs, Victoria Hale was an icon. At 48, she possessed an elegance that turned heads, always draped in expensive jewelry and designer clothes. But beneath her polished exterior lay a past filled with whispers and unanswered questions. Victoria had been married 5 times, to 5 different, very successful men, and every single one of them had met an untimely end. People in town spoke of her as a woman cursed by tragedy. Her first husband, a wealthy businessman, died in a sudden boating accident. Her second, an investor, suffered a fatal heart event that seemed to come out of nowhere. Her third, an adventurous entrepreneur, passed away during a hiking trip. The fourth fell ill with a puzzling, untraceable ailment. Her 5th husband, Daniel Hale, was found lifeless at the bottom of the stairs in their grand home, the victim of a supposed fall. After each death, the story was the same. Victoria would weep, looking every bit the grieving widow. She'd cooperate fully with the police, answering every question with poise and sorrow. And, of course, she would inherit a substantial fortune. For years, investigators walked away empty-handed, leaving Victoria to live a life of sympathy, not suspicion. But that illusion was about to shatter in the most dramatic way possible. Just recently, Victoria had announced her 6th engagement. This time to Grant Whitlock, a real estate developer 20 years her senior. They'd only known each other for 6 months, but Victoria gushed to anyone who would listen that it was true love. Then came the night that would change everything. One late evening, the peaceful coastal air was pierced by the sound of a loud argument erupting from Victoria's mansion. Moments later, a single gunshot echoed through the neighborhood. It was Victoria herself who called 911. Her voice was frantic. She claimed Grant had attacked her, that she feared for her life, and that she had shot him in self-defense. On the surface, her story was plausible, but for the detectives who knew her history, the pattern was too loud to ignore. This time, they weren't just investigating a single incident. They were looking at a lifetime of convenient tragedies. The lead detective, Sergeant Avery Cole, had been haunted by Victoria's past cases. She had always felt something was off, but the evidence was never there. This time, she vowed to dig deeper. Inside the opulent mansion, the first cracks in Victoria's story began to appear. There were no signs of a struggle. No overturned furniture, no broken objects, not a single bruise on Victoria. More damningly, when they tested the gun, they found it had been wiped clean. Grant's fingerprints were nowhere on the weapon. This wasn't the scene of a frantic life-or-death struggle. This looked like a cleanup. While Victoria was being questioned about her fiancé's death, Detective Cole decided to take a gamble. She ordered a re-examination of the evidence from Victoria's 5th husband's death, Daniel Hale. Thanks to new forensic technology, they revisited the staircase where he had supposedly fallen. And they found something that had been missed years ago. A tiny, almost invisible tear in the carpet. It wasn't a rip from a fall. Forensic analysis showed it had been cut, suggesting that the entire scene had been staged. This was the breakthrough Detective Cole had been waiting for. If she could prove that Daniel's death was a homicide, it would cast a dark shadow over all the other accidents. It would establish a pattern of behavior, a blueprint for murder. And if Victoria had killed Daniel, she had almost certainly killed Grant. The investigation went digital. Detectives gained access to Victoria's cloud backups, hoping to find financial records or incriminating messages. Instead, they stumbled upon a digital ghost of voice memo Victoria had accidentally recorded on the morning of the shooting. In the recording, she was talking to herself, her voice calm and chillingly clear. "Grant thinks he's in control," she murmured. "He'll be the last one to learn the truth." It wasn't a direct confession, but it was dripping with intent and cold calculation. It was the voice of a predator, not a victim. When confronted with the recording, Victoria's perfect composure finally showed a hairline crack. She smiled politely and said, "Talking to yourself isn't a crime." But her eyes, for the first time, betrayed a flicker of fear. With this new evidence, the floodgates opened. Old witnesses, who had been too intimidated to speak before, came forward. Financial records were subpoenaed, revealing a disturbing timeline. The pattern was undeniable. Victoria would marry a wealthy man, isolate him from his friends and family, and then, after his accidental death, she would inherit his fortune and move on. It was a deadly cycle, repeated time and time again. The court approved charges for the murder of Daniel Hale. Within hours, Victoria was arrested for the murder of Grant Whitlock as well. As police officers escorted her from her mansion, she didn't fight or cry. She simply stared at the flashing lights, her expression completely unreadable. It was the face of a woman who had lived a dozen lives and had finally reached the end of the road. The town of Harbor Springs was in shock. The story became a national sensation. Was Victoria Hale a grieving widow cursed by fate, or a masterful black widow, a manipulator who had perfected the art of illusion and murder? The truth, it seemed, was finally going to be revealed in a courtroom. There. Thank you so much for watching. This case is a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones hiding in plain sight. What do you think? Was she a victim or a villain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of human nature. Stay safe and see you next time.